Got it. Hello, welcome to Geeks Unleashed. This is episode 76. As usual, I am Mark, one of your co-hosts for the Geeks Unleashed podcast, and I'm joined, of course, from Texas
by me, the other co-host, Jasmine.
The other co-host, the other 50% of the show.
Yes.
For this week's review, we are reviewing Eternals, which came out not that long ago.
And spoiler warning, this is a review show. We are going to be if you have not seen this movie, I can't help you. Like we're just about to tear it up. I mean, we're not going to tear it up, but we're about to explore all kinds of things that are going to ruin all of the movie.
Look, we're not going to filter ourselves. Is what Jasmine's saying.
No, we're not holding back.
Some people spoil shit. Some people don't spoil shit.
We spoil it.
Every podcast likes to choose their preferred preference. I would rather just get into it. If we're going to talk about it, let's talk about it. I always don't get spoiler-free reviews. Like, I just don't get them. Like,
I think that could work if you're doing like a really sort of highbrow film. That doesn't really work with like superhero films. Like,
I mean, I guess if it's like a drama, like, where you don't necessarily need to spoil every detail, but this is a film that has so many things that happen that you need to spoil them to talk about them. Mm-hmm. So it's difficult. So I don't get how you could do a spoiler-free review of this. I'm sure there are ways.
Yeah. The person at Variety who saw this film 2 weeks before everybody else didn't bother to keep any secrets and ruined the post-credit scene.
I see. This is why I didn't read a single thing. And anyone that said anything about spoilers or whatever, or I can't believe that they've leaked this or they've said this or they've done that, I'm like, I'm not clicking on that. I'm not clicking on that. So my two mid-credit scenes, when I watched them, were fresh to me.
Well, one of them got spoiled for me. The mid-credits got spoiled, but the post-credit was a surprise.
No, I literally didn't know anything. And we'll talk about them when we get to them. We'll talk about, like, it was quite funny, like, when we do get to them, because my sister was sitting next to me. So I
was all by my lonesome.
No, I think it made it funnier. Like, and I'll talk about it more when we talk about it. It made it funnier because I didn't realize who that person was.
I see.
Yeah. So okay. I was like oblivious.
I can understand why you would not know who that was.
Yeah, like I do know who that person is, but I just didn't, like, they're not someone I care about. So when they came on the screen, I didn't know who that was. And then my sister was like, oh my God.
Wait, what was she like again?
It was like, oh my God. And I don't think she's a fan, boy or girl, of that person. But anyway, we'll talk about that person later on. So anyway, Jasmine, it's the first time me and you have been on our own for a while.
I know, it's been so long since it's been just the two of us. Like we've had lots of guests helping us out for, I would say, like almost last 2 months. So it's the originals, it's the OGs, guys. It's just us. You're stuck. My apologies.
So last week we had Matt from Talking Pop Culture in Australia. The week before we had like a Halloween combo.
That one was fun.
Of guests, and then over the weeks before that we had like Tony. Well, obviously we had Tony Fleece, obviously from Stray Dogs, as our conversation piece. We've had Tom from Two Roads Out Water Cooler.
Yeah. We've even got some that we have recorded that we can't tell you about just yet.
Oh yeah, we've already recorded November's conversation.
Yeah.
Which will be coming out at the end of November. We pre-recorded because Jasmine celebrates the celebration of getting rid of the English.
Is that one? I mean, I guess that's better than, everything else. Basically, it's just 2 free days off where we eat like maniacs over here. So hell yeah, celebrate that.
I feel like it's like Christmas version 1 for you guys. Like,
yeah, pretty much.
And I'm only joking, obviously. Thanksgiving, wonderful holiday. So I'm just jealous. So.
I'm sorry. You guys have Boxing Day though. We don't have that.
Yeah, maybe you guys should push for that.
We should.
Yeah, we should push for Thanksgiving.
Why not?
Yeah, I'd happily become part of America, other than I want to keep the NHS. I'm not down. I'm not down for paying like £200 for paracetamol or whatever you lot pay. So.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, don't get me started on that, man.
Oh yeah, and I'm happy with no guns too. So.
Yeah, don't get me started on that one either.
I feel like I could say that stuff safely from my chair in the
Yeah,
UK.
from super far away. Yes.
Yeah. I reckon if I said that like sitting somewhere in America, I probably. Actually, I'm not going to say the words I was about to say.
You try saying that in Texas, okay?
Yeah,
it's not gonna fly. It's not gonna fly.
Yeah. On a tannoy at the gun shop. So yeah, they definitely wouldn't like me. So anyway, before we get into anything, good week.
Yeah.
Been amazing.
No complaints. Had a good time.
It's
the week is over. That's the best part. So.
I'm glad it's over. I feel like I need a shave. It's been a long week.
Yeah, you got some scruff going on there.
I know, literally, this is a week. This is a whole week.
Wow.
Yeah, I can grow a beard within 10 days, like a proper beard.
No, I'm good.
Yeah. I'm glad that's the case. So is there anything before we jump into our news of the week? I feel a bit rusty now.
I know we haven't done news in so long because we've had so many guests lately.
I know. Like I don't tend to do news, or we don't tend to do news when we have guests. We like to give them the spotlight. And is there anything you want to jump into before we jump into news? Because
not really. I will say though, when not that it influenced anything, but after Eternals first came out, I had a bunch of friends text me to be like, so this movie, I'm like, wait, no, I haven't seen it yet. Like I need a few more days before I get to the theater to see it. And one of my friends was like, I walked out. Like I just completely walked out halfway through the movie. She's like, I was so bored.
I don't get that.
Yeah. I was like, I wasn't that bored. Like certainly not bored enough to get up and leave.
No, did you see Once Upon a Time in
Hollywood? No.
So that is like the slowest film I've ever seen. And what's weird is because it's a Tarantino film, so you expect untold amounts of violence.
Yes.
And there's only like one scene of violence right at the very end. Now, I enjoyed that film, and I think it was like 2.5 to 3 hours long or something like that. And it's so slow. But I actually did enjoy it. Like, don't get me wrong, it was because it was Tarantino. I kept thinking, like, is something going to happen? But there was such great cinematography, and there was such great moments within the movie, like acting wise. I was like getting drawn into the slowness of it all, and I can appreciate a good slow movie with good acting, and I was really drawn into that movie, and I saw people getting up and leaving, and I was like, I'm not doing it. I was like, I agree with you. It is slow. Like when those people getting up, I thought, I agree with you. It's a slow movie. Like I can see.
But I'm in it for the long haul. Yeah.
But I've paid for this ticket. I don't think I've ever walked out of a film. I don't think I've ever.
I have.
There was only one film there was 2 films I fell asleep in. I can't remember the name of one of them. I think one of them had Brad Pitt in, I think. I can't remember the name of the film though now. Anyway, it was a long time ago. I got a feeling Julia Roberts was in it. I could just be making stuff up now. But the other film I saw that I fell asleep in was Star Wars Episode 1.
I don't think I've fallen asleep.
Oh yeah, that wasn't a good film, Star Wars Episode 1.
Huh. I don't even the Phantom Menace, is that the one?
Yeah, the Phantom Menace, yeah.
Yeah.
That wasn't. I mean, it's okay, like as a TV movie. I think, like I've put it on at home
as like almost like a Hallmark equivalent movie.
Yeah, like a Hallmark movie. Yeah.
If Hallmark made Star Wars movies, there we go.
I found it. Right, the other movie I fell asleep in, The Mexican. With Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts. Yeah, Brad Pitt and Julia Roberts, and
I thought when
Yeah,
you said Brad
she
Pitt and
is.
Julie Roberts, I was like, you fell asleep during Ocean's 12?
I don't know. I've seen those. Um, the first two are good. The third one. What was the third one where one of them played themselves, which I thought was terrible?
Oh yeah, Julie Roberts played herself.
Well, yeah, I hate it when stuff like that happens. I
Yeah,
hands down hate. Oh, honestly,
that was
that for
so lame.
me, that was just awful. Like whoever thought that up, honestly, that was a bad. I hate stuff like that. I don't mind fourth wall breaking. I mean,
Yeah,
I know it wasn't a like I know it wasn't a turn to the camera and say, oh, guess what I'm going to do. Like it wasn't a Zach from Saved by the Bell type moment, but
yeah, the timeout.
yeah. But like Deadpool does it best, I think.
Yes.
But that kind of fourth wall breaking, I was like, no. Like this doesn't belong in a heist movie.
No, not at all.
I
Not at
mean,
all.
maybe
And their one difference between the two was Julie Roberts is actually left-handed, but the character in the film was not left-handed, and that's like what tripped everything up. And I was like,
uh,
really, really?
yeah.
Thanks for that, guys.
I hate shit like that. Anyway, before we go any further, is there anything I know we don't do recommendations anymore. Anything you've been watching that you want to shout out?
I mean, wow. Let's see. I've been, of course, been on my anime kick. I started watching this anime called Platinum End, which is really interesting. It's like 13 angels have come to Japan and they have to find a replacement for God. And all of the people that they are sort of recruiting are all people that were like on the verge of suicide. And so now these
Wow.
people that had nothing left to live for are now like competing against each other to become God.
Mm-hmm.
It's really interesting. They've got some really cool weapons. They've got like these arrows that can kill people. They have some of them have wings, some of them don't. It's pretty interesting so far. So I'm digging Platinum End. If I had to recommend it, of all the things I'm watching, I would say that's the one.
Yeah, no, that sounds interesting. I've been watching and I binged. I watched when it first came out. I watched the first 2 or 3 episodes, and then I haven't watched any. And then I think episode 9 came out today of a show called Foundation, which is on Apple TV.
Oh yes, I've heard of that.
I don't know how many people have Apple TV.
I do not.
Yeah, no,
I
so I
watch it
know
when some of my friends come over and they'll connect their phones, whatever. I mean,
yeah.
I don't even have an iPhone, so like I have
You can
zero Apple products.
you can have Apple TV though without the phone and stuff.
Oh,
Like
okay.
if you, I think so. I've got Apple TV. I think on my PlayStation or my Fire Stick. I can't remember which, and or both. Anyway, Foundation is like high. I would say like it's high level sci-fi, like it's
Mm-hmm.
high concept sci-fi. I think it's based off a book by Isaac Asimov,
Okay.
and what I like about it is how like not every character is in every episode.
Oh yeah.
And like and then you'll have some episodes where it's kind of a bit like the heroes thing, like how
Mm-hmm.
they'll drop in and out and there's all these different characters everywhere,
Yeah.
but it's not as ridiculous as I say it's not as ridiculous. I say it's not as ridiculous.
Save the
I mean,
cheerleader, save the world.
I say it's not as ridiculous. It obviously is high concept sci-fi.
Of course, yeah.
But it's different to heroes. But what I mean by heroes is the comparison to heroes is different characters in different places. But at the very end of episode 9, you can see the links all really coming together.
Oh yeah, I love it when they do that.
So yeah, and there's a brilliant twist that happened at the end of episode 9 where there was this. I won't reveal the twist, but there's this from episode 1. You've seen this floating pillar on this planet, and for the 9 episodes, all it's done is float. And at the end of episode 9, you finally see it open.
Ooh.
And so like there's all these different things going on. There's a lot of the galaxy is ruled by this one person who they have this perfect clonage of this one leader from like 2,000 years ago, and they constantly clone this guy to rule this galaxy and stuff like that. And they've got this really unique hierarchy and just way of life. And as with all these things, they're problems are on the horizon.
Of course.
But yeah, no, I don't want to say much more than that. But it's like actually just really beautiful to look at. So as well. So
I've heard a lot of good things about Foundation. So.
Honestly, like it's coming up as probably one of my best shows of the year, I would say.
Oh wow.
Like, yeah. Like it's it's a shame we haven't reviewed it. I know that we're not going to get time this year now, probably, but it's so I definitely would recommend it. And it's only 10 episodes. So
yes, that's my speed right there.
Oh yeah, honestly, I'm going to say one more thing before we're going to news of the week. I literally have decided to drop so many shows. I've decided finally this week I'm done with the Blacklist. Like I'm done.
Are you sure?
Yeah, no. Look, the only way I'm going to go back to these things is when they're finished. I'll go back and catch up, even if that's 10 years from now. Like I've written
it might be.
I've written it down where I finished. I'm a bit sad. I'm a geek, obviously. I have an app where every time I watch something, I record the episode. Like I have a little tick list thing. Uh-huh. There are apps out there you can keep a track of films and TV shows that you've watched.
Interesting.
And I do that. So every time, so I know exactly where I've watched on the Blacklist. I'm done with Grey's Anatomy. I'm done with Station 19. I've decided I'm done with all the Chicagos.
Mark, what are you going to have left to watch?
No, there's loads of things to watch. I'm just done with all these procedural 25 episode shows. And Grey's Anatomy, I'm the most disappointed about. It was so good in its heyday, but it's just so boring now. I know I'm probably offending people, but I'm just done.
It's been quite a while.
I mean, the only shows I'm going to forgive the 20 episode format to are going to be very few and far between now. But yeah, I'm done. Me and my wife watched Grace together. I've told her if she wants to carry on. But I'm done. I said I'm out. And she's like, "Are you ever going to watch it?" I said, "I might go back when it's finished. Let me know. I'll go back and." I said, if anything, more will happen is when it's done, I'll go back. Mm-hmm. So anyway, let's do news of the week.
All right.
It's 3 things to cover. We're not going to cover everything. Like there's been a massive load of news drop out of Disney Plus announcements. We'll go into those in a minute. We've just grabbed 2 things that we thought looked cool, but honestly, go Google Disney Plus news. You'll see loads of stuff.
Yeah, today is D Plus Day.
Yeah. But before we jump into that, Dean Stockwell, who many people will know from Quantum Leap. Sadly passed away this week at age 85. I think he just died at his home, hopefully peacefully. I don't really know. I don't think they've released much news in the way of how he passed away, but I don't think that's particularly important anyway. So it's obviously very sad, and obviously sad for his family and close friends. But when I read it, I was like, oh man, obviously it's sad when
I know you were super bummed because you love Quantum Leap.
I know, honestly, Quantum Leap is the one show that I keep hoping they'll one day bring back. I was like, I was such a big Quantum Leap fan, honestly. Did you watch Quantum Leap?
Yes, I did. I loved it.
Did you watch it all, like start to finish?
I don't know if I saw it all the way through, but I did like it.
Have you ever seen the last episode?
I don't think so. Or if I did, I really don't remember. It's been so long.
You should watch the last episode. The last episode's heartbreaking. Basically, do you want me to tell you or not?
I mean, that's up to you.
Sam Beckett is kind of like his final leap, so to speak, but it isn't his final leap, but he leaps into himself on the day that he's born. So it's kind of a little bit supernatural, the last episode. And he leaps into potentially himself, and most of the episode is around a bar ran by a guy called Al, who may or may not be God. It's very much alluded to this person being God. However, this person pretty much admits that they've been behind Sam's leaps. And all the guy says to him, if he can, I think it's along the lines of, if he can acknowledge or something, or admit or something like that he's responsible for his own destiny, he will let him go home. And Sam's like, I can't do that. Like he couldn't believe that he's responsible for his own destiny. So then this guy behind the bar basically says, then you're going to carry on leaping, but the leaps are going to get harder, which was meant to be a setup for the following season. Obviously, the show got cancelled, so they went back and they edited the episode to make it fit as a series finale. But the nice thing was, at the end of the episode, was Sam Beckett said that before he went on and did these harder missions, could he go and do his best friend Al a favor? And he leapt into somebody. So I don't know if you remember from the show, there's an ongoing joke about Al having like 18 wives or something like that. Remember this?
No,
not 18 wives. There was an ongoing thing about how he had like 6 or 7 wives. So Sam's final moment in the show was when he leapt into some random person and knocked on the door of Al's first wife and said to her that because he'd been at war for like over 2 years and no one had heard from him, and said to wait for him and that he is coming back. And that's kind of how the show ends. And then the show has some text that comes up on the screen and says that Al basically stayed with his wife for like forever, had kids together, and then it said that Sam never left home. I'm probably boring anybody that had no interest in Quantum Leap, but honestly, I was such a fan of Quantum Leap. I honestly loved it, and I've always hoped that one day we'd get to sort of revisit it. But I mean, even if we do now, the sad thing is that we won't get to see Al and Sam, and, Dean, and I've bloody forgotten Sam's real name now. What's his?
Scott Bakula.
Scott Bakula. Just to see the chemistry between the two of them. So the two of them have had actual Quantum Leap reunions. So they had an episode together on Star Trek Enterprise, which I saw, and they also, which I haven't seen, had an episode together in NCIS New Orleans.
Yeah.
But I am actually tempted now to go and find that episode and watch it together. So look, I mean, it's a sad loss, obviously, for the film TV industry, and it's a sad loss for all us Quantum Leap fans who were hoping one day to see those two reunited one way or the other. So yeah.
Well, sorry for your loss, Mark.
Thanks. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I don't know him, but like, the next piece of news. Do you want to take it or?
Sure. All right. So, next piece of news. I'm going to do this really, really badly, but any kid who is a millennial should recognize the da-na-na-na-na-na, 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 da-na. Okay, come on. Like that's the X-Men music from the 90s, right?
Yeah.
So
everyone knows that music.
Everyone should know that music, okay?
Yeah.
Even my really bad rendition of it, everybody should know it. So Disney Plus today announced that they are doing an X-Men 97 series that is set to premiere in 2023, and people are losing their minds about this. I'm super excited.
I love how they announced it though. They memed it. Like they released a meme. They released a meme of
Wolverine looking at a portrait, but the portrait was actually X-Men 97.
Yeah, I love it because that meme has been used everywhere. So whoever is in charge of Disney's social media, give him something. Give him a high five.
Yeah. No, give him a raise. Give him a bonus. Give him something.
Yeah. Give him something. Actually, they don't want high fives. They want cash.
They want money.
Well, I can assure you that they want cash.
Yes.
But honestly, when I saw that meme, I was like, "What? Hold on!" I did a double take. I was like,
"Yeah, I was like X-Men 97. What is that? Why?" And Wolverine has his original costume. This is kind of exciting. I loved that cartoon.
Oh, I love that cartoon so much. Like, I honestly now, like, I don't really remember it that well because it's been a long time for me. So I'm glad that it's 2023. It gives me time to rewatch. So
plenty of time.
Well, now that I've cut out all those shows.
Now you have plenty of room.
Yeah, plenty of room. So I'm stoked, honestly.
I think that's going to be so fun. I think it'll be fun to introduce like this new generation to that old school type of animation.
I hope they go back and kind of rejig the formatting of the original and get rid of the square border thing and like.
Oh well, yeah, they will. I'm sure it'll be letterbox now. But I really hope that they keep it as close to that cartoon as possible because that was like the biggest disconnect for me. Like when we finally got the X-Men movies and Rogue was a kid, and I was like, why is Rogue a kid? Like I want adult Rogue who was sassy and southern. I just felt like that was such a missed opportunity.
That cartoon was like my introduction to the X-Men. I'd never heard of the X-Men before. Like that, because I think that TV series and the Spider-Man animated TV series were out around the same time. And those two things I was watching before I even went to a comic shop. And then I went to I think I started watching that series not long before I went to a comic shop, and then started buying X-Men and Uncanny X-Men and Generation X and stuff like that. So kind of that TV series really helped me to get to know the characters. And Rogue was like one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, she was my favorite. Rogue and Storm were 100% my favorites from the cartoon.
I loved how sassy Rogue was. Like,
yes.
I was like,
and I loved her accent because I felt like she could have been my neighbor.
Oh, yeah. That would be good. Do you know what? The one thing I was like, and this is a good segue into the next piece of news, but the one thing I was like, I was really flicking through the news hoping they were going to say they were bringing back Spider-Man, the animated series. But there's no news on that. There's no news on them bringing that back. However... Disney are clever people, you know.
Yeah. So you get the next best thing.
So I don't know if anyone knows right now, but Disney do not own the movie rights to Spider-Man. Sony do, but that's the movie rights. Sony do not own the animated rights. I think what I believe is, from what I've been able to ascertain, is anything under half an hour, Marvel can do. Anything beyond half an hour, Sony can do. From what I don't know if that is a half an hour thing, but that's kind of what I've picked up from around the internet. So they are going to release Spider-Man Freshman Year animated series in Disney Plus, and this is what I quite like. It's going to be set in the MCU, and it's a prequel series. What I would imagine, though, is that Tom Holland probably is not going to be the voice. So I would imagine that Sony have got that bit locked down. So
we shall see. But see, that just goes to prove that the devil is in the details. Like, honestly, who would think that when you're looking at any kind of contract? Like, we own these rights, you own those rights. But if your product is 29 minutes and 59 seconds long, then I can do whatever I want with it. But as soon as I hit that 30-minute mark, then you have to do stuff. It's like, the hell?
From what I read, I think that is the case, because if you've got Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse animated movie, which I'm sure if there was a loophole that Marvel could do animated movies, they would be releasing Tom Holland as an animated Spider-Man as their Get Out. Like, they cut Spider-Man out and they would just release animated movies of Spider-Man. That'd be their Get Out. Like, they'd be like, you know what? You lot. They'd be like, look, you lot go and get Andrew Garfield back, and we'll just carry on. Like, that's what Marvel would do, and every Marvel Disney film would just be animated. Like, you know, we just have to go and see these big blockbuster animated movies. But I
mean, if they're making them as good as they made Into the Spider-Verse, I'm down. Sign me up.
Yeah. Oh, I think Marvel would probably make them brilliantly. But,
one of the other pieces of news that I thought was really funny is the Agatha series. There is Agatha. Yeah. It was Agatha all along, and I killed Sparky too. So Agatha is going to be having her own series. I think that's also going to be out in 2023. One that did make me really excited, I totally forgot about. Baymax is back from Big Hero 6. The trailer for the Baymax series looks so cute. I loved Baymax, and I loved.
There was a few trailers. There was a few tiny trailers. There's a tiny She-Hulk trailer, which I'll be honest, it didn't get me excited at all.
It doesn't really show enough of anything.
I think that's the trouble. It wasn't a trailer really. It was a teaser. It was a teaser trailer. There was a tiny little bit of Moon Knight.
A little bit of Miss Marvel.
There's a lot of tiny things released here and there, but like I say, look, Google's your friend, or Bing it if that's your preference.
Nope, you're gonna Google it. Also, I thought this was really funny in response to all of the Disney Plus stuff. The boys refused to be outdone, and so in Amazon fashion, they released a trailer for their fictional streaming service called Vought Plus, and everyone from the 7 had some kind of segue or segment within the little commercial for Vought Plus streaming, including Black Noir, who does not speak, and so his entire segment was cue cards, which I thought was really funny.
I've not seen this.
Oh my God, it's hilarious. I retweeted it. So like straight from the boys official like account, but like, yeah. So after all the Disney Plus stuff, Vought was like, oh, we got you. We're hitting the fictional world. And so they released a Vought Plus streaming service trailer as well.
I need to go and watch this and
Yes,
subscribe to Vought Plus.
Yes, they say that the price increases next week, so get in there quick.
Oh, right, okay. Do you know what would be genius if Amazon like actually changed the Amazon Prime app or some Prime Video app for like a couple of weeks
to Vought Plus,
or when The Boys comes out, like you suddenly go onto your phone and you're like, "Where's Amazon Prime gone?"
Oh, it's Vought Plus.
It's Vought Plus. Yeah, that would be funny. I don't think Amazon would do that. But that would be fun. That'd be funny.
It would be.
Well, as I said, there's a lot of Disney Plus stuff out there. We're not going to cover it all this week. Nope. I know we normally tend to run down a list of stuff.
Not this time.
When we saw it, we were like, "Oh, there's a lot there."
It just kept coming through while I was at work today, and I was like, "Nope, I'm not going to make a list."
To be honest with you, a lot of it was repeating itself. As well.
I mean, they had like a lot of new logos and that kind of thing, or solidifying release dates is kind of the stuff that they did. So
they did show a logo for Echo, so I guess now we know she's finally getting a TV series. So I mean that'd be long rumored. So she probably pretty much now will be in Hawkeye. So that was a long rumor. So anyway, we will not talk about the other bit of news that's been floating around, the Spider-Man No Way Home spoilers. So
no, we're not spoiling. We are not into spoiling things before they are available for public consumption. So we're not doing that. Yeah.
I did read those.
Why?
I accidentally clicked on it is what happened. So I can't remember I don't know if I just wondered what it was or whatever, but yeah, anyway. But they looked fake. That's all I have to say. So I guess we've got about 5 weeks to find out the truth.
Yeah. I'm ready for that one.
Oh yeah, I think it might be a midnight showing. Like it's I don't know if I'll be able to wait because it'll come out at midnight. I reckon it'll come out at midnight, and then by the time I go in the evening, people will already be ruining the crap out of it.
Yeah.
So I think I may have to be one of the first showings. So anyway, we will call time on news of the week, and we will be back in a moment. And that is obviously for the podcast. So anyway, we're back.
All right, kicking right in. Eternals, directed by Chloe Zhao. The screenplay is by Chloe Zhao, Patrick Burleigh, Ryan Firpo, and Kaz Firpo. Story by Ryan Firpo and Kaz Firpo. It is produced by Kevin Feige and Nate Moore. Runtime, 2 hours and 37 minutes. And I promise you feel all 2 hours and 37 minutes of that runtime.
Plus trailers.
Plus the 20 minutes of trailers, 25 minutes if your projectionist was feeling punchy.
I feel like there was like half an hour of trailers.
It could be. That all depends on the projectionist.
So release date in the UK and the US was the 5th of November, 2021. Obviously, this was 2021. When I was getting ready, I thought this was interesting. Australia got it on the 28th of October. So
they had it a whole week.
I did not know that until I was getting ready. Out of curiosity, I just Googled it because normally I just Google like UK, US. And I thought, out of curiosity, did everybody get on the 5th? I was like, no, Australia got it a whole week ahead. I didn't actually know that. I didn't know they got it ahead.
Me neither.
Before we talk about anything else, actually, before the thing kicked up, the movie theater I was at, a warning came up saying they use infrared or night vision, whatever it is, to pick up people that are illegally videoing in the cinema.
What?
Yeah. Like I've never seen that on anything I've ever been to. Like
that's awesome, though.
I've been to see. I obviously saw Venom the other week, and I saw
at the same theater.
No, I saw Shang-Chi at the same theater. So, yeah, that didn't have that there. So. I wonder if they've had some incidences at the theater and thought maybe we've got to put something in. So
maybe this was the most people in a theater since we've been back to theaters that I was in when I went, and I went and saw it on a Wednesday night.
Sorry, yeah, I saw it on a Wednesday night too. Right, okay. So budget $200 million US. As of the 12th of November, 2021. The performance stands at a US box office of 91 million US dollars. International, which obviously includes the part of the world that I'm in, is 90 million US dollars. Overall gives a worldwide performance of 181 US dollars.
Ooh.
So we
have not made break even yet.
Yeah, we have not made break even. However, it's not really been out that long.
Yeah, it's only been a week.
Yeah,
it will get there. It will surpass it.
Well, within a week, it's almost made its money back. So
yeah,
it's almost made its money back. So I mean, at the moment, Marvel probably aren't pressing the button on number 2, but
yeah,
they're probably pretty close. So
yeah,
I mean, I would imagine they're hoping for 300 or 400 million. I would imagine. So,
yeah, there's gonna be a second one. I mean, I always refer back to this, but if Thor got 3 sequels, this movie is gonna get a sequel. It's fine. All right, so this is the 26th film in the MCU. It is the first standalone film that we've ever had based on the Eternals from Jack Kirby. Just a summary of the Eternals. This film spans 7,000-ish years.
7,000 years and a lot of characters.
Yeah. Oh my God. So many people. Oh wait, I guess I should do the characters first.
Oh no, we'll do
okay.
The characters. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because there was because I know we normally say the characters at the start. We say directors, but because there were so many, I was like, say repeating ourselves. That's why I bumped that down. Sorry.
Got it. No worries.
Everyone listening, you're getting some insight. We normally say the characters
behind the scenes.
Yeah, but I bumped them down because there were so many. So we will talk about the characters. Do not worry.
They will get their shine. Don't worry. So anyway, okay, this movie is basically we start out with a team. They are on a spaceship. They are awakened. Salma Hayek is the leader of the team. Everybody wakes up. They are at Earth, and now their job is to protect Earth from deviants.
5,000 BC.
Yes, 5,000 BC.
Yeah.
So that's what happens. We open up on this big fight sequence between all the Eternals, and well, not all of them, only 5. So basically the team, it's 10 people total. 10 Eternals total. Of the 10, 5 of them are heavy hitters. So the 5 heavy hitters are the ones that are actually fighting the deviants, while the other 5 are kind of just waiting until the deviants are dead so that they can come down and introduce themselves to the people of Earth. So that's pretty much how it starts. We don't really have any kind of clues on the team dynamic other than these guys do the fighting, these guys do the soothing. And that's pretty much it. So we go from 5,000 years, then we kind of do a lot of time jumping throughout the film just to kind of give some background knowledge on how the Eternals themselves evolve as they encounter human conflict. Because their mission, which was given by a celestial Ereshkigal, their mission is to not interfere with the development of humans unless deviants are involved. So that is why they don't intervene in global conflict. If there are no deviants, the Eternals pretty much don't give a shit. They're just kind of hiding in plain sight. So we kind of get time jump after time jump after time jump. We're in Babylon. We go to, the destruction of the Mayan Empire. There's a lot of different things that kind of happen, but most of the film is about, I would say, present day London. So we're in present day London and everybody is broken up. The team is broken up and we only see 2 Eternals so far, with Circe and Sprite. So then a deviant finds its way to London, and then Icarus shows up in London, who Icarus had been disappeared for a while. No one knew where he was. So now we got a problem because after it was over 2,000 years, because I think the last time that they had the deviants was when they were all in Mexico or Guatemala. They were in somewhere in either Central America. So deviants are back, and now we got a problem. We only got 3 team members, so now these 3 set out to find the rest of the team. Oh boy. And then it's just drama, 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 drama. The deviants have evolved since the last time the Eternals fought them. So now there is a like king deviant who can take Eternals powers. So that poses a very big problem. And then it just kind of, there's a small mystery plot within the film. I say small because it's pretty obvious. Yeah. But so not only do we have to figure out, like they have to get the team back together, they got to figure out where the deviants are coming from, how to get rid of them, but they also have a death in the group that they have to figure out, like, oh God, how did this happen? Basically, this film, to me, to summarize it, it is probably the most human of all of the Marvel films, which is odd to say because there are very few humans in this film. But the way that they portray humanity in the Eternals, I think is kind of what they put front and center. The big, big, big theme that you get here is love. So it moves a lot slower than most of the films that we're used to. There are big action set pieces, but that is not like the point of this film. It's very emotions driven. So yeah, and of course nothing goes according to plan. Shit hits the fan. We get more dead Eternals. And then of course by the end, the Earth is forever altered because now there is half of a thing coming out of the center of the Earth. They left a mess, and it's going to be very interesting to see where this goes from here.
Yeah, so thanks for the summary.
The terrible summary, you're welcome.
Well, I mean, to summarize, just under a 3-hour movie, 7,000 years, 10 characters into 2 or 3
characters.
3 minutes. 2 or 3 minutes is a feat on its own. So anyway, so I think overall thoughts of the movie. So I'll go first, and then you go first, and then you go next. Normally I say you go first, but I watched it and I enjoyed it. Like, I wouldn't say I loved it.
Fair.
But I liked it, and I had to so when it finished, and the final end credits scenes come up, and I was with a friend of mine and my sister, and it was a busy cinema. It wasn't packed. I'd say it's probably like 80% full, maybe. I think some people did leave, but probably like only 3 or 4. But I think generally everybody stayed. And I don't know, there was more like a different kind of atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I said to you, I think I said to you about a week ago, because obviously, and we'll talk about the review bombing in a minute, and because there's obviously been a lot of negative about it, I think the trouble is a lot of people have gone in to Eternals expecting Avengers or Ant-Man or whatever. They've expected, or Shang-Chi, or they've gone in expecting a humorous.
They went in expecting a MCU film that they are used to, and that is not this movie.
No, they went in expecting a standard, typical MCU movie, the formula movie, which they have. The one-liner, terrible bad guy. One-note bad guy that they normally have, except for Thanos and Loki, who is more of a good guy now. And they kind of, and that's a stereotypical formula Marvel movie. But don't get me wrong, we always enjoy those movies.
Of course.
But I said to you, I think, from what I could see of the trailers, I felt that this was going a different way. And the trailers had deliberately shown the action sequences. Obviously, they were not going to show the slow character building things because, they want to get people in. So I sort of sat there and I was like, I like it. Not sure if I love it. And then I was trying to get my mind around it. And then I think I'm glad that we didn't record this the day of or the day or day after.
Yeah, you got to sit with it for a couple of days.
I think it's a film that I definitely had to sit with. And I think that I referenced The Foundation that I watched earlier, and I was also thinking about June as well. And I was thinking to myself, right, okay, I like high concept sci-fi movies. I love sci-fi films. I love sci-fi TV series. This is a pure sci-fi movie set in the MCU. So this is like a high concept sci-fi movie. And I was thinking to myself, I love high concept sci-fi movies. I love things like this. Like you give me a high concept sci-fi movie with things like the Celestials or whatever, and so they weren't part of the MCU. Like I would have gone into that, and I think a lot of people that like those kind of things would have gone into that probably like with an expectation of what they were going to get.
Yeah.
A bit like June. Like people seem to really have loved June,
Mhm.
even though June is very much an introduction movie, doesn't really cover too much ground, but kind of introduces you to that world. And it's only 2.5 hours long. And the movie could have done, in all honesty, have been about 4 hours long for June. Not only because it kind of, by the end of the movie, you're like finally getting going. And so that, for me, this film was very much an introduction movie, high concept sci-fi movie. All of those things I love. Now, obviously, because it's set in the MCU, and it wouldn't have made sense if they hadn't have addressed Thanos, because people were immediately like, these people are so powerful, why didn't they step in? So they had to give a reason for why they didn't step in. So then that kind of made sense. So there was obviously some Avengers references and some Thanos references.
Yeah, but that's it. They were very minimal.
Well, I think if you had not billed this as the 26th movie in the MCU world, and not mentioned Thanos and not mentioned the Avengers, you wouldn't even know this was in the MCU.
Like the way Netflix did their stuff when they had, like they mentioned the event in Luke Cage and Daredevil, but like they never talked about what happened in New York City and the aliens and all of that stuff with the Avengers. Like they very rarely mentioned anything about that stuff, and it still made a lot of sense. Like you knew it was based in the same universe, but you also knew that you weren't going to get one of those through threads like you do with every other Marvel film.
I think because Thanos, obviously, the event where he got rid of 50% of the people, and because people were so vital to the.
But also, it wasn't just 50% of Earth; it was 50% of the universe.
Yeah. But obviously, because of the events of this movie, getting rid of 50% of the humans slowed down the event that was going to happen in this movie. So it had to be addressed. It couldn't be left off. I think people will be probably more mad that it didn't get mentioned than whatever. But so I think, sitting back, in summary, I did like it. I didn't love it. I think it was a good introduction film. I'll be honest, though. I think now that we've got the introduction out of the way, I think I'm more excited for a sequel than probably this movie. I think that the sequel probably has a lot more. I can see the sequel probably going down the stereotypical road of Marvel movies. Maybe still slightly high level. But seeing the two post-credit scenes, I feel like we're probably going to go back to more standard MCU type, like kind of content. But this obviously was the introduction to the Eternals. Now, there is one thing I would like to say is never read any Eternals ever.
Yeah, me neither.
Never been something that I've been interested in. I know people might shoot me for that. Like Jack Kirby is a big name. But this has actually got me, for the first time ever, wanted me to read some Eternals. I actually would like to pick up the first graphic novel and read some Eternals. So I would say that's the one thing it's done for me. And so if there's anything that's come out of it, I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I think everything about it visually was fantastic.
It was stunning. It was stunning to look at.
And I think there's a big question: would I watch it again? Yes, I would watch it again.
Yes.
Would I? But I wouldn't watch it for, say, at least 6 months. I think I'd leave it.
I would be happy to watch this again at some point on Disney Plus.
Well, what in summary, your overall thoughts on this movie?
This movie was really pretty. I enjoyed like the cinematography aspect of it. I liked the way that their powers manifested. It was very different than anything we've seen before. It wasn't just like, I'm super strong and I can do this, or I can run really fast. It was like, no, we can sort of create things from nothing. Almost like every single one of them has a power ring. Like they're all Green Lanterns or something. Like they just can manifest these things out of nothing. So I enjoyed that part. I really liked most of the characters. I But what really bugged me, and I guess I shouldn't say bugged me, but what I did not enjoy was the fact that this was like a human story. Um, I did not I did not realize that I would be sitting down for a 3-hour love story. That was not what I had in mind when I was going to see the Turtles. Although I had to say, even when we first started seeing trailers for this, like I had no interest then, and my interest never built. So I went to see this film because we were covering it. And that was the only reason that I saw this film. Um, I didn't hate it. I did not love it. Um, there were some parts that I enjoyed. Again, I really enjoyed the characters. I thought the acting was really, really kind of like a step above most of the stuff that we get within the MCU. So I will say that the casting was great. I loved the diversity that we get to see on screen in this film. I mean, I absolutely loved it. Um, but as far as like the story and the characters themselves and the impact that this could have on the rest of the MCU, it's kind of like I just there was never a point in the film where I was excited enough to feel like I was fully invested. So like I said, there were very pretty parts. I really, really enjoyed the characters themselves, but as an overall story and as an overall film, it just didn't pull me along. I mean, I was there because I paid to be there. And like I said, I didn't hate it and I wasn't bored like one of my friends that had seen it and walked out. But
They
I don't
went
know.
in.
It was
That friend that walked out, I bet any money if you asked them, they were expecting something like Avengers.
well, one of the things that they had told me was I don't like the way that these powers work. Their powers themselves are really boring. So yeah, I think that they were looking for something a little bit more exciting.
I felt like, because again, I don't know anything about the Eternals. The powers felt like this was Marvel's version of Superman. Like,
well, only for Icarus though. I didn't feel like
yeah,
that at all for anybody else.
like, he was very Superman. Oh yeah, no, I know what you mean. Not all of them were Superman level, but it did feel like a kind of. Do you know what? It felt like it was DC heroes in the Marvel world.
Yeah, I actually heard another podcast, the For All Nerds podcast, describe this as a better Justice League film than the Justice League.
Which version of the Justice League are they comparing?
I mean, it doesn't take much to be better than the Whedon version. So
well,
maybe they're comparing it. I don't know. Maybe to Zack Snyder's version. Who knows?
The Zack Snyder's version was good, other than the stupid scene at the end with the Joker.
And other than it being 4 freaking hours long.
I was okay with the 4 hours because I was only going like I know we're segueing here, but I was okay with the 4 hours because they made such a big deal of him getting to go back.
Yeah.
And like I say, if he'd been given the first go around, 4 hours would have been too much.
Yeah.
But like because they were making such a big deal about him coming back, I was okay with those 4 hours. I didn't do the 4 hours in one go. I did 2 hours one night, 2 hours the next. Anyway.
Yeah. But I think this. I think this is a character film. This is 100%. Not the MCU film that we expect. This is not the film that is pushing the story of the MCU forward. Yes, there are huge altering events in this film.
We don't know that yet, though. We don't know that yet.
Well, yeah. I mean, like there's big stuff that happens in this film, but this is 100% a character film. It is a character film.
It did get me thinking, right? Okay, so we've had Black Widow, which we know is a prequel. We had Shang-Chi, which was an introduction to Shang-Chi, and then we have some teasers in the credits for Shang-Chi, which we still don't really know much of. Apparently, there's some signal within his bracelets, which again was like
broadcasting.
Yeah, which probably into deep space. We've got the Eternals again. I mean, we're not going to talk about the ending right now, but we know there's going to be a lot more space involved. We obviously got Guardians of the Galaxy. We potentially got Thor 4. Is Marvel going to maybe explore more space stuff? We don't know. Probably.
Probably.
Well, at some point, I'm sure we'll get Nova and all the rest of them. You know, we'll get those kind of characters. Will the other things like Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, Ant-Man 3, I think, are going to be like a multiverse type thing on its own. And then I think then we're going to have this space stuff built out. I think what I was finding frustrating was, because obviously on its own, take away the Marvel Universe references, it's a good standalone sci-fi, high-level concept sci-fi movie, I think. But obviously we're linking it with the Marvel Universe. And one of the things I was thinking about was, from the pretty much early on, we could see a roadmap for the Avengers coming together. And eventually we could see, even from the first Avengers movie, we knew Thanos was coming.
Yeah.
We kind of knew the roadmap. But with all these different films, Marvel are not sharing much. They've been so secretive.
They were linear before, and nothing is linear now.
At the moment, it just feels, and I'm sure there's a plan. Because
unless this is the plan, since we have all of these divergent timelines, maybe the chaos and the confusion is part of the plan.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, we're all just speculating because that's what we do. But it feels to me like I don't really know what's going on. Yeah. So, which I'm sure Kevin Feige right now is loving it, like, you know, rubbing his hands and seeing all the cash come in. So,
oh yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about review bombing quickly. So everybody, there's a lot of review bombing going on.
People get so butthurt over stupid stuff.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, when I see people go and review bomb stuff, I'm like, man, just come on. Like, you know, I'm going to watch it. I don't care that you guys have gone and smashed it with ones and stuff like that, you know, like to bring down the score rating. If I've made a decision to watch something, and a lot of people that made the decision to watch Eternals, they watched it anyway. They didn't care. They didn't care that you lot went and slated it. So I saw the review bombing, and I thought to myself, the reason you've done it is because it's not the film you wanted.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that it's a bad film by any means.
Yes.
It's just not the film that you wanted.
Didn't like it.
So
I would say objectively, this is a decent film. Objectively, like the cinematography is great, the acting is good. Like there are plenty of characters that you want to root for. Overall, it's a good film. If it didn't meet my expectations, that doesn't mean that I should just shit on it, you know?
Right, let's now talk about the characters, which I know you were desperate to get into.
I'm so excited to talk about the characters.
What we'll do is, because obviously time is you know, not a luxury for anyone, listeners and ourselves. We'll just kind of break down each one, kind of give it a minute or two on each one and our thoughts on them, and then at the end of them, we'll just, you know, I'd love to hear what your favorite is of them all.
Oh yeah, I got two.
I got two favorites. I got two.
Favorites.
I'll trade you one. So if I struggle to say anyone's names, you might have to jump in. So Gemma Chan, who I know from Humans. Have you seen Humans?
Can we stop typecasting Gemma Chan? That's all. Like when it got to that point in the film where that was revealed, I was like, again?
I was so annoyed.
Seriously?
I was like, so look, we're going to spoil shit now. Okay, yes. So you got warned plenty of times.
Yes.
All the Eternals are robots.
Yes.
Okay, like that was a really disappointing twist for me.
They were created by the Celestial.
I get it though, because of the chain of events of the movie. They obviously, I'd rather they'd have just been like immortals. Like,
yeah.
I mean, again, I know I'm not criticizing anything that Jack Kirby has done, and I'd like to read the comics and maybe I can understand a bit more of the origins of the Eternals. But I think I was more disappointed because of Gemma Chan having previously played a robot in Humans, and I was like, oh. That's disappointing.
That's what I'm saying. Can we stop typecasting Gemma Chan? Like, she was fabulous in Crazy Rich Asians. Like, she is human. She can play human characters. Can we get her to play humans instead of playing robots?
I mean, I'd love to know if the Eternals all end up being human. I mean, at some point, I don't know if that's the plan. But anyway, Gemma Chan as Cersei was clearly like the main Eternal.
She was the heart of the team.
Yeah, she was the heart. Now, I don't think she played a robot. Like, as in, it wasn't like...
No, not a robotic performance at all.
She wasn't robotic or anything like that. No. And I mean, obviously, she was, like you say, very human. I think she was great. Like, I loved watching her in this movie. Definitely leadership material of the character. It's a character that I'd love to learn and know more about. By the way, before we get into any of this, I'm aware that some of these characters have been gender swapped or whatever from the books. I don't know which characters those were.
Me neither.
So I'm not,
I literally did no research prior to going to see the film. So I went into this film completely blind and just kind of like taking it at face value.
But I also didn't want to, because I want to go read the book on its own. I don't want to go spoil the books for myself. So I enjoyed watching Gemma Chan. I think she's great. Like I say, Humans is anything I've seen her in. So
she's good enough. And that's not true. You've seen her in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh yeah, she did have another role.
Yes, she was green.
So playing Alien again, I guess.
Yeah. So, that's what I'm saying. Can we please hire Gemma Chan to play human, please?
Maybe she could be Vision's wife.
Oh God.
Like she could be the new Vision. No, I'm joking. All right, anyway. I don't know. Yeah, it's too late now. They've cast her as Eternal. That's it. So there's not really a lot to say.
But she was great from the very beginning. Like she was clearly the empathetic one from the moment that they all like awakened. And you could just tell like over the course of the film how she just had this deep love of humanity. And that's kind of why she ends up becoming team leader, is because of her love of humans. And at one point Icarus even mentions that if he wanted to get to know her better, then he had to get to know humans first. So they really just kind of used her as the vehicle to show that even robots can love something.
What did you think about her chemistry between Icarus versus her chemistry with Dane Whitman?
I didn't think she had chemistry with either of them.
I think there was a struggle there with both of them. Yeah, no, I think she had more chemistry with Dane Whitman than she did with Icarus.
Yeah.
But I think the chemistry was weak with both.
Yes, very.
Yeah.
Very, very, very. Which also, the first time that we have a sex scene in a Marvel film, that lack of chemistry made that sex scene incredibly awkward. Incredibly awkward.
I guess let's talk about Icarus now. So Icarus is sort of what you would assume would be the leader of the team.
Played by kind of Richard Madden.
So Game of Thrones-esque, and The Bodyguard on BBC One, and was really good in The Bodyguard. So apparently that is coming back for another season. I did not enjoy his performance as Icarus. I felt it was obvious from the very moment we meet him that he is bad guy in the
He's
wings.
A piece of shit. Like that was very apparent from day one.
It was obvious that he was.
As soon as they got skipping ahead, as soon as they got to the first dead Eternal, I was like, he did it. Like obviously he did it. Like, hello. what do you
I'll be honest, I didn't see that bit.
Oh my God, yeah, I did.
I didn't see that he killed we'll talk about that Eternal when we get to it, but I didn't see that he killed that Eternal. I didn't see that because I was a bit like,
because he was such a prick. Like
I didn't see the logistics of it. That's why I didn't see it. So, because I mean, he was in London.
Well, I didn't see the way that it happened. Like I did not see that coming, but like I knew it was him.
Yeah, I mean, it was obvious that he was gonna. So when they were obviously, as all of the team were building up to stop in the main event, it was obvious to me that at some point he was going to turn on them. And I thought to myself, if I was sitting there with them right now, I could point him out and say, he's not going along with any of this. You can tell by his awful facial reactions that he is not into any of this. In short, Richard Madden, Icarus, was the sort of like Superman-esque of the team. He was the highest, most powerful character in the team. All of the Eternals were together until an event. I think it was
Babylon. No, it was the Aztecs or the Mayans.
There was some, maybe the Mayans, whatever. There was some big thing in Earth history. They all sort of fell out there when they were in separate ways. And but he obviously, Icarus did get married to Cersei. It was a very awkward love relationship. Yeah, and like you say, probably the most awkward sex scene I've ever seen on TV.
Yeah, they just like, I think just Gemma Chan and Richard Madden didn't have any chemistry whatsoever.
No.
They were much better in the scenes where they're sort of antagonists to each other. But like when they were supposed to be lovey-dovey, it was like, I'm not buying it at all. Sorry, guys.
So he does turn against the team, and in the end, he decides for love to let them win. He loves Cersei too much. I thought it was quite funny that she's called Cersei, considering there's 2 Game of Thrones characters in this film. So, and what I thought was quite funny was that Icarus flew too closely to the sun. I thought that was a good little twist.
Well, they said that Sprite made up that story because that was sort of her power, was to manifest illusions. And so they said that Sprite is the reason that we were ever given the story of Icarus and flying too close to the sun, yada, yada, yada. So
before we move on, I was going to say, before we move on from Icarus, I'd love to know what your thoughts are. Do you think he's alive?
Yes. Because why?
I don't think he's dead.
Because there is no body.
Yeah, that's what I thought. That's what I wanted. Like, they don't see his death.
Yeah.
It's kind of like
he might have changed his mind halfway through the sun and decided, you know what? I don't want to do this.
Or I thought to myself, we don't know how powerful he is. Maybe he flew into the sun and he's all right.
Yeah, flew into the sun and then flew out on the other end.
I don't know about that. But, but maybe he like flew into it and didn't necessarily die, or maybe
he absorbed some of the sun's radiation.
Or maybe the heat just knocked him out and he's kind of floating through space, and then suddenly wakes up in at the beginning of part 2. And
how much like Superman is he? Does he really need to use the sun to recharge, just like the Man of Steel?
Yeah, we don't know, but like we've always said, unless there's a body,
there's no body. Yeah, we did. Now we did see some dead bodies. So the bodies that we did see, we knew they were dead because they turned a different color.
So I just don't believe that he's dead.
Yeah, I don't think Icarus is dead.
I'm not buying it. So I'm not. So right. So we've got
Kumail Nanjiani.
Yeah, I was reading it. I was like, oh. So this is the humor of the team.
Yeah,
he is probably the most stereotypical Marvel character we've got. Like, I think in terms of humor, like in terms of one-liners, I don't mean like his background or anything like that, because I think the background is very different from what Marvel movies like.
Yeah, it was awesome to see a Bollywood sequence in a Marvel film. I will definitely say that. For sure.
Honestly, that whole bit I thought was very, very new for Marvel.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a lot of new stuff for Marvel in this movie, but it was that Bollywood sequence was amazing. The whole thing, just his whole thing, his whole get up about Bollywood, the whole, and the fact that
he'd been doing it for like 2 centuries at the very least. And at one point, one character is like, dude, don't they know that you're the same guy? He was like, we're not the same. This was my great-great-grandfather. This was my grandfather. This was my father. And then there was me. I'm 4th generation. And everybody is like, okay.
But he's really like into the whole thing. Like so for me, I thought he was brilliant. Like I thought he was just so good. So funny. Like, honestly, I did not realize he was in Silicon Valley. This makes me now.
Oh my God, he's great in Silicon Valley.
I've not seen Silicon Valley.
Oh my God. Okay, listen, I do not like sitcoms. I do not like sitcoms in general. Silicon Valley, the first 2 seasons were fucking hilarious. Like, laugh out loud on my couch by myself. Hilarious.
Silicon Valley is something I always wanted to watch, but I don't think really much to add about him. But I think he for me also was the heart of this team. I felt
he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
He abandoned them.
No. Like, I mean, I know he abandoned them, but like I felt like he was like the comedy glue that kind of like brought them together. Like, I know he walked out on them, and then his like PA guy sort of thanked them and stuff. But I kind of just felt like, I don't know, there was something about him that I got drawn to. Like, I know he wasn't the same heart that Cersei had, but
he was very charismatic.
Yeah, that's probably the word. Yeah, charismatic. That's what I liked. I liked his charisma. I liked his charisma. I wouldn't say he was out for everybody. That I would say he was out for mostly himself.
Yes.
But I think his charisma really did help to bring the team together at the early stages. Like,
to me, he felt like the guy that almost, well, I mean, I guess I'll go with a different reference. I was going to go with like a high school football reference, but you probably wouldn't get that. But he felt like the guy that was always meant to be part of a team and wouldn't be able to do much of anything as a standalone. Mm-hmm. So when he left the team in like their hour of need, I was like, that's very typical. Like, you seem like that guy.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, I think that was wrong that he walked out, but I liked his charisma. And I think at the beginning, his comedy and his charisma worked really well for the team. So
yeah, well, I thought it was hilarious that when they first approached him and told him who had died, and he gets real quiet and they're like, yeah, you know, this sucks. We're going to figure it out. We got to go get the others. And the first thing out of his mouth is, I can't leave. We just started shooting this movie. It's the first of a trilogy. And I
thought it was very Tom Cruise of him, though, to say, I've got all these people to look after, like all these actors and producers and directors, they're relying on me. I was like, wow, Tom Cruise is in this movie. Yeah. Anyway, Sprite. So Sprite and Cersei have been together quite a while. Sprite was with Ajax, and Ajax said to go look after Cersei. That was all not in the film, but they said that's what happened. Yeah. I liked Sprite, and I could see what was going to happen about making her human at the end of the film.
Oh, I didn't see that.
No, the reason I thought that is because I don't know when the second film's going to come out, but let's say it's 4 years from now. Mm-hmm. Sprite will be visually older.
Yeah.
And I thought to myself, it's okay when you've got adult actors, they don't tend to change their appearance much, but between 3 and 4 years. But with children or with child actors, you can see, like you can see. So that's what because they had that problem with I've forgotten the name of the character on Lost, the boy in the first season.
The baby?
Michael. No, Michael had a son.
Oh, yes.
So I remember the producers of that show saying they had to write out
Walt.
the son. Yeah, Walt. They had to write the son out because I don't think they expected necessarily to be as big and as long as it went on for. So they had to find a way of writing Walt out because the time on the island for every season was meant to be basically about a month, roughly, or give or take. I thought, I might be not entirely accurate there, but they had to write Walt out. And I remembered that while I was watching this film. And I was thinking, okay, all these people are immortal. Okay, that's great. That can work for adults. Well, up to a point.
Well, that's why they move so much. Yeah.
And so I thought this can't work with Sprite. So she's been a child for 7,000 years in the film. But I was like, okay, but if this is popular, there's no way they can have Sprite be in the second film as a eternal who's immortal or whatever. So I thought to myself, they're going to find a way that they can age her, or they're going to have to kill her off. I thought it's going to be one of the ways it's going. So I did not like that she did turn on them. Well, I was disappointed in that.
Listen, I would not have minded if they had killed her off instead of one of the other ones. Just saying.
Yeah. No, I wasn't a big fan of her character, I'll be honest. I wasn't a fan. But at the end, when Cersei said she had enough power to turn her human and make her a real girl.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Pinocchio.
Like, yeah, I know. I was like, oh, okay, here we go. But I'll be honest, character didn't interest me.
Yeah, no, I didn't really care about Sprite.
I would have been like you, happy they killed her off, or maybe replaced her with an older actor in the next film. So, or now that she's human, maybe we just don't need her now. So
yeah,
I'm okay with that too.
Yeah.
So. Right, a chance for Marvel to actually not just imply stuff,
but actually have a gay couple.
Yeah, a gay character. So is it Fastos? Yeah, played by Brian
Tyree Henry.
Yeah, Tyree Henry. There you go. I honestly, when they showed up and they saw like he was when the team was getting back together. I like the fact that they show you how he lost faith in humanity with
Hiroshima and the atomic bomb.
Yeah, and how he felt like responsible, and then they kind of come to present day. So they see this kid in the school, in the front garden, And then there's two men on the drive, and I thought, are Disney going to do this stereotypical thing where they just imply that they're gay, like, but not actually do it? But actually,
No,
no,
we
they
got a
actually said,
smooch, man. We got a sex
oh,
scene at the beginning of the film, and then we got a gay kiss halfway through.
well, when they did the gay kiss and everything, like, and all the whole, like my family and all the rest of it, I was like, okay, Disney, like,
Yeah.
a lot's come on. I was
Yeah.
like, you won't get this released in China, but like.
Also, the guy who played his husband, I love him. Haas Sleeman.
Honestly, it was brilliant.
Oh my God. If you have never seen a film called The Visitor, which also stars Richard Jenkins and Danai Gurira, go and find it and watch it. The Visitor is a fantastic film, and Haas is so good in it. And I also love that he kind of brings like his Lebanese heritage into all of his roles, because at one point he called Fastos Habibti, which is like a sort of like a pet name for Babe. I thought that was really cute.
Oh, The Visitor, 2007.
Oh my God.
I have not.
It is a phenomenal film. It is so good. It is so good.
I've not seen it, in all honesty. So I just trying to think. Oh, I've seen him in. I just got up his thingy. I've seen it at IMDb. I've seen him in Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan TV series. Oh, he was in Covert Affairs, which I have seen. And I think, oh, he's in 24. Only 3 episodes. Oh, he was in something, Assassin's Creed video game. But most of the other things here I've not seen him in. But I did recognize him as an actor. But anyway, I was actually really like, okay, this is good. So
I like the way they did it, and it felt natural. It didn't feel like Disney forcing it, like they forced that girl fight scene in or Infinity War. This one felt like a natural progression for a couple to have.
Okay, so right, let's move on from him. And okay, so again, Marvel's first deaf character as well, which I thought was cool. We've got Lauren Ridloff as is it Makari? Yeah. So I think Makari is a man in the comics, I think. So I don't really care, but I like her. She's in The Walking Dead, so now it explains to me why they made her disappear for a whole season. And then so I didn't realize she was off in the Eternals. So I'll be honest, I thought she was hilarious. So,
yeah, she was great. I loved her energy.
So I love the fact that when they get the team back together, she's sitting on the spaceship, like read all these books, and she's like, "Cool, I'm ready to go. I'm bored of this planet."
She's like, "Are we going home?"
Yeah, we're going home. I'm so bored. Like,
yeah.
So, for me, she was great. Right. Yeah.
And I loved her ability. I love that she was one of the Power 5 that was like one of the heavy hitters. That was nice to see.
Yeah. Okay. So Barry
Keoghan.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Droog, I think.
Druig. What a dick. Droog.
So he's like really arrogant. But equally,
I mean, he had good intentions-ish.
Yeah. Well, he did have good intentions. He didn't like humans. He didn't like humans battling each other and killing each other.
Yeah. When he had the ability to stop them.
However, I don't think his answer was the right way.
No,
his answer was to mind control people. Where the rest of the Eternals said, humans need to learn to not.
But you can't take away their free will. Yeah.
Yeah. I think to take away someone's free will to learn a lesson is not the right lesson.
Yeah, they're not learning anything.
Well, they're not learning anything.
I did kind of like his turnaround, though. I'm glad that he eventually kind of came back around.
So a character who I think was very short-lived was Don Lee.
Oh my God, Gilgamesh.
I'll be honest, I was really disappointed in his basically get killed off.
Yeah,
he was a brilliant character. What I loved though was Angelina Jolie's character Athena. So we're talking about these two together. I think I was actually quite shocked. Angelina Jolie's presence on screen was so small.
Yes.
For such probably the biggest actress in this whole movie,
which made me wonder, like, why did it have to be her? Like, why? If that was the role of Athena, like, literally anybody could have played Athena.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's bigger plans. So I don't know. I was disappointed. So what I liked was the relationship between the two of them. That he had, again, like you said, love. He had such love for her that he sacrificed his life to take her away.
Mhm.
So basically, Thena had some problems with her mind, and
Yes.
she was attacking people and going into a trance and stuff like that. And Ajax's answer to that was to wipe all her memories.
Mhm.
So she didn't want that to happen. So Gilgamesh said that he'd sacrifice himself, essentially, not
But
kill
he's
himself,
also
but
the strongest. Like Icarus is a good fighter, but Gilgamesh was like a really good defender. So
mm.
he was the best person to take care of Athena because he's the only one that could like fight her and be okay.
So I like the fact that he sacrificed his essential life
Mhm.
to take care of her. Now, it wasn't it to me. It didn't seem like a romantic relationship. It seemed like one of care, like maybe brother and sister type thing. So I liked that, and I really liked his character, the humor that he gave as
Mhm.
well. I thought was great. It was just disappointing that it was so short lived.
Yeah,
So
my
short lived.
favorite was him and Kingo when they're talking about the wine, and he's like, "I fermented it with my spit."
Oh, yeah. Like, well, even oh, what's his name? I've already said his name. Uh, Kingo.
Mhm.
It was like the same thing. Kept spitting it out as well.
Yeah, yeah,
Like he kept. He's like, can we? Oh, that was it. He said, can we get some alcohol that doesn't have your spit in it?
yes.
Like so. Okay, so Harish Patel, who plays Karun, who is Kingo's sort of valet,
Uh-huh.
absolutely, what a brilliant idea of a character. And I loved that, like when you say Kingo having a fight and he shouts out, "Did you get that?" Like,
Yes, yes.
I mean, so
And at one point, even Sprite was like, "How many cameras did you bring?"
yeah, like I'll be honest with you, he was very much the Marvel
Oh yeah,
sort of
100%.
stereotypical,
He's
like
he's the Ned. Like he is the best friend to the hero. That was his role for sure.
he reminded me of I forgot his name. You know, when in Shang-Chi, when they're in the prison and they find the guy underneath who was in it from Iron Man
Oh yeah,
3.
the Mandarin. What's his
Oh
name?
yeah,
Trevor.
yeah, Trevor. He was the Trevor of
Yes,
this
he was
film.
definitely
Like,
the Trevor.
yeah, he was definitely, yeah, maybe that's what we should call people like them, the Trevor.
The
So,
Trevor.
like, yeah. Right, okay. So Kit Harington, who plays Dane Whitman.
Ooh.
So for pretty much anyone watching this that doesn't know comics, Dane Whitman is going to become Black Knight.
Mhm.
I'll be honest with you, I've probably read a handful of Black Knight comics in my life, but I still don't know who he is. I was disappointed that we didn't get to see Black Knight on screen, and I was disappointed.
Oh, but wait.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
But like, I was disappointed though that we didn't get it, and I was disappointed that he wasn't as big a part of the movie
Yeah.
as I was hoping he would
But that's
be.
what happens in a first. Like they're doing all of the world building first, and then all of
Yeah.
the fun stuff comes in the sequels.
Oh no, oh no, oh no. In terms of his performance, I enjoyed what we got.
Yeah. But it was
I
very
didn't.
just like,
I didn't enjoy his chemistry again, like I said earlier with Gemma Chan.
he tried harder than Richard Madden did,
I
I
think it would
think.
be good if that kind of came to an end and he went and did his own thing. Like,
Yeah. Fingers
um,
crossed.
so Selma Hayek, who plays Ajax, who's the leader of the team, and
Uh-huh.
she gets killed off by Richard
She is the
Madden.
first death.
Yeah. So her power, her not powers, her sort of link to the Celestials gets passed over to Gemma Chan.
Her powers
I
get taken by the
by the sucking,
deviant. Yes.
yeah, deviant thing. I liked her. I think Selma Hayek is a brilliant actress. Again, disappointed that she's not in it that much. So, yeah, maybe they could have switched her out like with somebody.
I did like though that we do sort of get the flashbacks of her doing things with different members of the team, like how she's there to comfort Fastos when he kind of loses his faith in humanity, how she's the one that sent Sprite to go live with Circe, how she's the one that actually told Icarus the truth about what Aramesh had planned for them. Yeah, so I was sad that it had to be her. That was a bummer. I didn't want to lose her that early.
So from this list of characters, is there anyone that was particularly your favorite?
Gilgamesh and Makari, 100%. Gilgamesh and Makari. I was so bummed when Gilgamesh got killed. Don Lee, like I recently seen him train to Basan, and like it's almost the exact same thing. So the way that his powers worked is like he could form gauntlets kind of on his arms as defense shields and giant like punching bombs to fight people. But it's really funny because that's almost exactly what his character did in Train to Busan when he was fighting the zombies. He literally like taped up his forearms and just brawled his way through a freaking train full of zombies. It was awesome. So Gilgamesh was my favorite. Makari, I loved Makari. Like, I just I loved that character, how she was always smiling. And Laura Ridloff, she's actually deaf, but she's also like half Mexican American, half African American. And it's just like I love to see this kind of diversity, especially in a big budget giant film from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So yeah,
I have
definitely.
to say, I think my two favorite characters, if we're going to do two, is Kingo. I know you said like I loved him. I thought I thought he was great for the team. I know he walked out and let them down,
Yeah, I mean, but he was
but
charming.
but he was charming, and I
Yeah.
think he was good. He was four things in the beginning, and I think he
Yes.
definitely helped in the beginning. But I just found him very much charming and like a good chunk of the film needed him. My other favorite was the same as you. I loved Makari.
Yeah.
I think for me, I love her. I love her in The Walking Dead. I think she's brilliant in The Walking Dead. But I thought she was so good in this film. Like
Yes.
so funny. And I love the fact that like we're seeing like much more embracing of different cultures and backgrounds in movies now. Like I mean, in Quiet Place, we've actually had a deaf actress in A Quiet Place, and now we've actually got a deaf actress in The Eternals.
And we had a deaf actress in Godzilla versus Kong too.
Yeah. So it's been good to see more diversity. So anyway, so we've kind of touched on the structure of this movie as we've been going.
Oh, but I have some thoughts.
Well, no. So yeah, we'll share any sort of more detailed thoughts, and then we'll talk about our own credits and stuff like that. So, what are your thoughts then on the writing and structure of this movie?
Listen, while I was watching this film, I literally got really upset at one point because I was like, this film is the exact same plot as Mass Effect, which is my favorite video game franchise, right? Like, it was so bizarre though. And then I was thinking, okay, well, like you can't really say that because the Eternals comics have been around forever. And who knows if this is the exact same story from the comics. At any rate, this film felt very much like Mass Effect 3, where you have the Celestials and they create a thing. And that thing is meant to do one task. So the thing is the deviants is meant to do one task, but then the deviants go off the rails and now they're leading themselves instead of taking orders from the Celestials. So the Celestials try to correct their mistake by creating the Eternals to battle the deviants. Well, like in Mass Effect, it's pretty much the same thing. You have this creature called Leviathan. Leviathan is the ultimate apex predator. It creates a sort of synthetic life, and that synthetic life is meant to cull the population of the galaxy. Well, then the synthetic life decides like it's going to go off book, and now the synthetics are doing their own thing. And so then Leviathan has to find a way to create something else that will then fight the thing that ran away from him in the first place. And it's just like, oh, this is the plot of Mass Effect. Anyway, it just, so I got a little wrapped up in my own head while I was watching the film.
I think we'll need to read the comics and figure this out.
Yeah.
But I liked the jumping backwards and forwards. I'll be honest with you. Like I could have done with maybe less of it, but
yeah, this could have been 40 minutes shorter.
But I understand why they did it, because I think this is almost like if you were to think that the last 25 films of the MCU were like, I don't know, book one. I know you break them down to phases, but
well, yeah, this is phase 4 at this point. Yeah,
but this feels like to me like a brand new starting point for the Marvel universe.
Yes,
and there was a lot of characters to introduce, and you couldn't have had an Eternals movie in the way they did without introducing all of the characters that they did.
Yes,
I think though they did as well as they could in terms of introducing them, and I think obviously we know that there's a lot more Eternals out there. So I think any more than that, and it would have been ridiculous. But I think in terms of the juggling that they did, I think they did it well. There's been a lot of talk about obviously the director Chloe Zhao. Obviously, this is her first big movie. She did really well with
Harley Quinn.
No, there was that independent movie she did. Caravans driving around America. I forgot what it's called now. Anyway, she's won like awards for it and stuff. So I think that like Marvel have been really pleased to get this like independent director, but I think she's obviously much more character driven. And I think like people like, again, to come back to the reaction of this, I think people were hoping for the stereotypical, not character driven, but action blockbuster movie. So I think she did very well though in juggling all of these characters and giving them as much depth and as the time would allow. So
Yeah.
I
Actually,
can't
I
really
was wrong. It's not, she didn't do Harley Quinn. Harley Quinn was Kathy Ann. My bad.
Yeah.
I'm sorry about that. I meant not that they're anywhere near the same. Nomadland is the film you're talking about.
Yeah, Nomadland.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I actually, out of curiosity, I watched the first half an hour of that last night. It's not a film for me. It's not to say it's a bad film. I just wasn't really enjoying it. But I could see where the references are about her character, how she works with characters, and it is a character director.
Yeah.
So I've heard that already. So
well, I think because there are so many, like there's 10 Eternals, right? Like that. Well, we learn in the film that there's way more than 10, but we meet 10 in this film. 10 people to get individual stories on these 10 people. That's a lot of stuff to get across. So I still do think that the way that the characters are portrayed in this film and the character development that we get is done really well. But there are so many other little elements that need some definite work. Like the whole, almost all of the stuff with the deviants, really, it almost has no impact. And I think that's, I mean,
the villains of this. Okay, so we talk about the villains. So the villains, there's two villains of this movie. There is obviously the Celestials, as we find out. Now, the Celestials, obviously, you can argue are good and bad.
Yeah.
They're
neutral.
They make big decisions.
Yes.
So
20 billion people over here die, so 30 billion people over here can live. Those are the kinds of decisions that they make.
Yeah, they make these big decisions. Now, people have different takes. So, I mean, I would argue, as I'm human, that I would like to live.
Yes.
So
yes.
Now, basically, their whole thing is that they create. They do create, in the Marvel universe. They create planets and suns and solar systems and stuff like that. And then what they do is they put a seed for another celestial on a planet where intelligent life is going to form, and it kind of absorbs that intelligent life to grow and sort of hatch from that planet. But as they hatch, they destroy the planet and all the people living on it. So
basically, Earth was pregnant all this time for a billion years. It's a billion-year cycle to birth a celestial.
And the Eternals essentially decided, for the most part, other than Richard Madden, they were on board with stopping this from happening.
And Kingo said that he still had faith in Arishem, and that's why he wasn't going to help them.
Yeah, but he equally wasn't going to stop them. So where Richard Madden's character was going to stop them until he finally was like, no, I can't.
And even Ajax had been doing it for millions of years, she said. And it was the snap that changed her mind. She was like, Thanos erased half the universe. And yet the people on this particular planet decided that they were not okay with that. And they brought half the universe back. She said that was something special. And that was something that to her meant that this planet should not be destroyed for the birth of a celestial.
Yeah. So the Celestials are kind of like the big villain, and then obviously you've got these deviant things which I had no interest in and had no character development.
They're basically like guard dogs or hell dogs.
There was just nothing about them. I had no interest.
Even the one that finally could talk, like by the time it turned human-ish, I was just like, I don't care about you.
So that big battle at the end that happens where they kind of fighting them and then they stop this Celestial and all that, I did not care about that battle. There was no stakes in it. Like I had no interest. Obviously when Icarus was going to kill potentially his love interest, Cersei, he clearly wasn't going to kill her. So I was like, oh, who cares? And then in the end he flew off, which did surprise me. He flew off, I'll be honest. And then when he started to fly towards the sun, I was like, oh, you're going to kill yourself. So that's weird. So I don't know. So most of the film I enjoyed. There was no stakes in terms of villain, like on Earth. The Celestials are clearly very powerful people that you do not mess with. So when the movie ends, this bit I loved when the sky cleared and all of a sudden a Celestial's head just
Yeah.
appears in the sky and takes the Eternals with him that were
Mhm.
left on Earth, because some of them
The
were
ones
left in
that
the ship.
defied him. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, man, this is where I was actually reflecting on whether I enjoyed this film. And I was like, yeah, this is a high concept sci-fi film. I was like, that's pretty damn cool. Like to have this. I don't know how big he is, but he's as bigger than the solar system.
Much bigger than Earth, for sure.
Yeah. Like his head is like 10 times the size of our planet.
Yeah, it looked like Earth could fit in his chest.
Like, so he just shows up and kind of just shows up and peers into the sky and sees her and
snaps him up.
Yeah, snaps him up and goes off. So I'm like definitely like, what's going to happen next? So yeah. I know you said, would you cut? You could have cut 40 minutes off. Is there anything particularly you would have cut?
I think they could have done something completely different with all of the deviants. It just like when they're fighting these things, it's almost like you said about the final battle, like it doesn't feel like there are any stakes, because we get to the point where originally when the film starts, the deviants are attacking humans, but by the time the deviants return, when we're in present day, they're attacking only the Eternals. And so it's like something has changed. And if you were going to put that much effort into giving these things a different type of personality than the ones that we met at the beginning of the film, but there's no sort of transition that we as the audience are aware of to make that new consciousness happen. So I just think that the way that they kind of explain the purpose of the deviants, it's not done well enough to make us understand A, why they're so bad, and B, like why we should be so shocked by their transformation.
It reminded me of Green Lantern come back to DC, because I know, so you've got the Green Lanterns, which they had the Guardians of the Green Lanterns. Yep. Now I'm not as big DC fan as I am Marvel, but then again I don't know much about the Eternals. But the Guardians created these robot things before the Green Lanterns, and those I think they're like robots or something, and they've turned bad or whatever. Again, I'm not overly knowledgeable on Green Lanterns, but when they showed that storyline of in the Eternals, how you've got these deviants, and then turns out they were created by the Celestials, but then obviously they turned into they kind of went against the plan, and then the Celestials had to go and create these as Eternals. Kind of reminded me a bit of the Green Lantern stuff, but
where basically the trope is, I created a thing, and then the thing that I created is not doing what I wanted it to do, so now I got to create a new thing to go and get the old thing to do what I want it to do again.
Well, they're going to have to create something else now. So.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like this vicious cycle that just keeps going.
Yeah. So, okay, right. Mid credit sequence. I
had no idea who this character was.
So basically the Eternals did fly off in the spaceship.
Yes, some of them. Three of them
did, yeah. Suddenly you get this weird scene with an imp.
A drunk imp.
A drunk imp. I've never heard of this character before. Don't know. It's very Harry Potter.
Yes.
It was funny, but I was like, okay, so Eternals now is going to go real.
Like we're really going Guardians of the Galaxy here.
Yeah. No, we're going. I'm not just Guardians of the Galaxy, but real sci-fi. I thought this is really going into real sci-fi world, which I'm still happy with. And then they introduced this character I've never heard of called Star Fox. I was like, I don't care.
The imp introduced him as Star Fox, but he introduced himself as Eros, the brother of Thanos. So I think there's a lot to be answered there, because obviously they're an Eternal and they're robots. So what's happened? So I think that's pretty cool though, that we've got the brother of Thanos. I didn't know if Thanos had a brother. It's fine. I did not care that the actor is Harry Styles. I know that some people seem to be over the moon about this. I am not one of those people. Anyway, that whole scene, it was interesting, but I don't care. Yeah.
End sequence.
Oh man. I was wrong about who I thought that was.
I care more about this than I did about the Star Fox scene.
Yeah.
So Dane Whitman's in an office, and I was like, oh, finally. I did think it was a bit dramatic when he's like, so when he stepped back from the box, it's like, come on, you can do this or whatever. I was like, get get on with it.
Yeah,
Like,
just
and
pick up the damn sword.
yeah, nobody wants to see this namby-pamby stuff. Just get on with it. Like, so he opens a box, and I honestly thought, yes, we're gonna see the Black Knight. I honestly thought, yes, we're gonna see it. Like, this is what I've been waiting for the whole movie. And then suddenly you hear this voice like telling him, "Do you really want to do that?" And I was like, "Oh, are we gonna see who that was?" Nope, we didn't see it.
Who did you think it was? Before you looked it up online, who'd you think it was?
I genuinely didn't know. I honestly
I thought it was Kang.
Oh,
like as soon as he spoke, I was like, "Oh my god, that sounds like Kang." No, it is not Kang.
It's Blade.
It is Blade.
So, which worries me a little bit that it's Blade.
Why?
Because I don't want like, I don't know. I don't want like.
We're never gonna get the Wesley Snipes Blade version back.
I don't
not coming back.
I don't want PG Blade. Like, I don't want it. Like,
you're getting a PG-13 Blade.
No, I don't want a PG-13 Blade. I want a Wesley Snipes Blade.
No,
like,
I'm sorry, that's not happening.
I mean, look, I get you going to do a new actor, but I want that tone of movie. I don't. Those movies should never, other than Blade 3, those are good movies. So, anyway, ratings. I'm curious. Where would you put it out of 5?
I have changed my rating since we started this podcast. I was originally gonna go 3. I'm gonna give it a 3.5.
Okay.
Because I think it does have potential, and you kind of reminded me like this is the first, and the first film is always a little clunky. It's a struggle bus because you have to introduce all new characters. You have to introduce a whole new like mythos, a whole new world. So stop it. Oh my God. Stop. Did I walk into that? Oh my God.
I can't even sing.
Oh my God. I just can't escape Aladdin. I can't. Anyway. So yeah, I'm bumping myself up to a 3.5.
Yeah, no, I mean, Avenger, was it Captain America, first one I didn't like. Iron Man 1.
I did not like Thor 1 or Thor 2.
Thor 1 and 2 are terrible. When I look back, the first Avengers, even the second Avengers are terrible. In fact, actually, I think.
Oh my God, Age of Ultron is horrible.
I mean, the only good Avengers movies are the Endgame and Infinity War, to be honest.
I like the first Avengers.
I think the first Avengers is better than the second one, but it's not. I don't think it's aged as well as it could have done.
Yeah.
But I definitely think all those sort of first films are not great. So
yeah, so that's taking that into account. Yes.
From my Captain America films, I loved the 2 and 3, but I didn't really love the first one. So anyway, I think I'm gonna go. So yeah, basically 3.5 from me. I think nice. I think I thought that already going in.
Okay.
Like, I mean, into this episode, I mean. So yeah, I'm happy with 3.5. Actually, just before you go, or before we finish, we've had Black Widow, Shang-Chi, and Eternals. I'd love to know, where you'd put them all.
Oh, Shang-Chi was definitely my favorite film that they released this year. 100%. I mean, by a country mile. I enjoyed Shang-Chi so much.
I think Shang-Chi is a top.
Yeah.
And then I'd love to know between Black Widow and Eternals where you'd put them.
Oh no, I would still put Black Widow above Eternals.
Yeah, I think so. I think Shang-Chi, Black Widow, and Eternals, I think was
I mean, I would not put Eternals in. I don't think I'd put it in the bottom 5, but I'd really have to put all of the Marvel films on paper.
Oh yeah, let's not do that now. There's way too many. But I just meant from this year.
Oh no, from this year, it's definitely the weakest entry of this year.
Yeah.
But it is not a bad film by any means. I don't think it's a bad film.
Yeah. No. I don't think it's a bad film. I think it's a good introduction movie. That's what it is.
It's world building. You have to be patient with the world building. It's the first one that got a lot of exposition. I still don't want to forgive the 2 hours and 37 minutes. That seems really long, but I guess maybe that's the new norm. Maybe films are just longer now. I don't know.
Yeah. We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. I always say to you, I think a good movie is at least 2 hours long. I think a good movie is at least 2 hours long. I mean, I'm not saying that they have to be longer than that, but I think a good movie is at least 2 hours long because it gives you enough time to get to know the characters.
Yeah.
So I'm not a big fan of movies that are an hour and 10 minutes, hour and 20 minutes. They're just too quick. fine.
Unless they're horror.
Well, anyway, so next episode we will be reviewing the entire first and potentially only season of Why the Last Man. We'll talk about that next week.
Way to bring that down.
Sorry. I was gonna say we always plan to review it, and even though we heard about the cancellation, I said no, let's stick to it.
No, we're gonna stick to our guns. Yeah. So don't forget, we did start a second podcast series where we talk about some of the most essential graphic novels of all time. Our 11th Late to the Party Book Club episode was Batman, The Long Halloween by Jeff Loeb and Tim Sale. That episode came out towards the end of October. Our next book club episode is going to be the first 2 volumes of Fables.
And you can follow us on social media. We are everywhere, Geeks Unleashed, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Come say hello. And that's it. Come say hello.
And you can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Google, Podbean, Apple, Spotify. We are everywhere. So please give us a 5-star review and tell your geeky friends.
Thank you very much for listening. Have a good week.
Good journey.
Oh, and good journey too.